3 U.S. citizen children have been deported with their mothers. Now, this is according to the Washington Post. The family's lawyer says one of them is a 4-year-old with stage 4 cancer, deported without medication or ability to contact doctors. The family's lawyers are also saying their clients were denied communication with family and legal representatives before being deported. And it's raising concerns about the issue of due process, that it's being violated. So let me ask you, is everyone on U.S. soil, citizens and non-citizens, entitled to due process?
Yes, of course. But let me tell you, it looks in immigration standing, the laws are very specific. If you're in this country unlawfully, you have no right to be here and you must be removed. That's what the law says. Somehow over the last 20 years, we've completely lost this notion that somehow or completely adopted this idea that, yes, we have immigration laws, but once you come into our country illegally, it triggers all kinds of rights that can keep you here indefinitely. That's why we were being flooded at the border. And we've ended that. And that's why you see a historically low number of people, not just trying to cross our border, trying to cross the border into Panama, all the way down in the Darien Gap. I mean, it's been a huge help for those countries as well. On the headline, that's a misleading headline. Okay, 3 U.S. citizens, ages 4, 7, and 2, were not deported. Their mothers, who are legally in this country, were deported. The children went with their mothers. If those children are U.S. citizens, they can come back into the United States if there's their father or someone here who wants to assume them. But ultimately, who was deported was their mothers who were here illegally. The children just went with their mothers. But it wasn't like, you guys make it sound like ICE agents kicked down the door and grabbed the 2-year-old and threw him on an airplane. That's misleading. That's just not true.
Just to be clear, because I do want to get to the overhaul at the State Department, is it the U.S. policy to deport children, even U.S. citizens, with their families, and I hear what you're saying, without due process, just to be very clear there?
Well, no. Again, if someone's in this country unlawfully, illegally, that person gets deported. If that person is with a 2-year-old child or has a 2-year-old child and says, I want to take my child with me, well, then you have 2 choices. You can say, yes, of course you can take your child, whether they're a citizen or not, because it's your child. Or you can say, yes, you can go, but your child must stay behind. And then your headlines would read, U.S. holding hostage 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 7-year-old while mother deported. So,
you guys see how they are such liars, Thank you, Mr. Rubio.
Playing with the wrong man, playing with the wrong one.
Yeah. Wow. All right, before we get into this, we got Kung Fu CJ here. It says, KJ, you are on point. Thank you, Kung Fu CJ. Thank you so much for your super chat. Yeah, Michelle, this is so maddening. What are your thoughts on that exchange?
If they don't stop saying children were deported, show me the child deportation. See, she should be sued. That network should be sued, because that is blatantly false to say that a child was ever deported. There's no deportation notice, and the mothers had due process. They were deported because a judge said they had to go. I don't know how many of us moms would say, okay, I'm going to leave my kid behind and go. No, the same moms that either brought the kids or were pregnant or had the children, they knew they were here illegally. And this is not happening in this grand scheme. This is a handful that they're just kind of using and saying, here's, again, KJ, this is just another headline, another clickbait. It's what
they're doing it across the board. They're doing it today on station after station. These journalists, so-called journalists, reporters, have been pounding on the Trump administration about due process.
Like puppets.
Here's on Face the Nation, they had on Tom Homan, another reporter, another flat-faced woman on here, and they're pushing lies.
On Friday, a federal judge who was appointed by President Trump said a 2-year-old American citizen child had been sent to Honduras with the mother who was deported. But the judge said, quote, there was no meaningful process. So again, this is another similar situation and dynamic. Shouldn't there be special care when these deportation cases involve small American-born children?
Well, first of all, I disagree with the judge. There was due process. That female had due process at great taxpayer expense and was ordered by the immigration judge after those hearings. So she had due process. Again, this is parenting 101.
Come on now.
You can decide to take that child with you, or you can decide to leave the child here with a relative or another spouse. Having a U.S. citizen child doesn't make you immune from our laws of the country. American families get separated every day by law enforcement, thousands of times a day. When a parent gets put in jail, the child can't go with them. These, if you're an illegal alien, come to this country and you decide to have a U.S. citizen child, that's on you. You put yourself in that position.
Well, when it came to this particular case, you just pointed out that they could have made arrangements. The father tried actually to make arrangements, as we understand it through our reporting. But he and the mother, who were separated since she was in detention after showing up for her appointment, was only allowed a very brief phone call. The father tried to petition to get the child handed over to an American citizen relative. So the mother had to make this decision and took the child with her. It just seems like there could be some more time frame here around due process allowed. That's what the judge is saying there should have been more of a process here.
There was due process. The two-year-old baby was left from the mother because the mother signed a document requesting her two-year-old baby go with her. That's the parent's decision. I don't think the judge knows specifics of this case. Two-year-old went with the mom. The mom signed a paper saying, "I want my two-year-old to go with me." That's a parent's decision. It's not a government decision. It's a parent's decision.
Thank you.
All right. Get her. You see this?
I love Tom.
Yeah.
Tom Homan.
Now, first of all, these people make me sick. All this due process. They are crying about due process now. Where was the due process when they came in? When these people come across the border, the way Biden was giving them an app and telling them to come on in, all these illegals, process was out the window for them when they came into the country. Then they come in, anchor their babies, and then again, they forgot the process, forgot the paperwork, forgot, thinking about maybe leaving first and getting their paperwork together and then coming. There's no due process. There's no paperwork. They don't adhere to any process. But now when we're telling them they got to go, everybody's sticklers for process. Process this, process that.
No, KJ, I'm gonna push back on that. They did have due process. The due process that the far left and the Democrats wanted was for them to process millions of people into the country and give them instant citizenship. And now they find out, oh, what? That's illegal? We can't do that? No, you can't do that. And if a woman comes here and she knows that, and unfortunately there are circumstances where they come here and they have children, they know they're here illegally. There are consequences. And the fact that when I was laughing, I stopped watching Face the Nation years ago. I saw how woke it was, and this is just bad. It's just nasty. But it reminded me of Talladega Nights. She's like, shouldn't there be a better process for small baby American born? It was like baby Jesus, little infant, teeny tiny. Like, it was like, what other adjectives do you want to add on there? And just for a baby, it's a kid. There's a kid. The mom says, I want my kid. If I'm deported, I'm taking my kid with me. And the U.S. government says, great, we're not in the business of separating parents from children. Sounds familiar. So you go ahead and take your child with you. And that case that they use with the mom and the father of the child, they're not even together. So they're separated. So no, she might not trust the father and whoever he decides to put her child in the home with. They're already not together. So these children who are American citizens, they were born here, sure. When they're older, they can still come back. They still remain U.S. citizens. So this is nonsense. This is just moms deciding they're going to keep their young children. And maybe even those same moms, we don't know if they'll ever have an opportunity to come back or not, but let's do it the right way.
Exactly, Michelle. And Kung Fu CJ here with the $2 super chat says Tom is a straight shooter. Yes, he is. He shoots straight from the hip. It's no cut cards with him. He's going to give it to you as plainly but accurately and efficiently as possible. And I love him. And it's so sad because we have the media now harping on something like this, a child being deported with her mother. But what about all those unaccompanied minors that have gone? We don't know where they are. What they said was like 300 and some children that nobody knows what happened to them when they came across the border. They have been trafficked. They have been kidnapped. No telling what. And, you know, if the media would focus on that, on real issues, instead of harping on this, when we're trying to fix the problem that the Biden administration created, it's just mind-boggling. It really is. They are really enemies of the state. President Trump said that many years ago, and at the time, I actually thought maybe he was going too far. No, he was right on. These people are enemies of this country. They really are.
And in fact, I don't think from what we're seeing now and what's being exposed, he didn't even go far enough. Right. People don't like his delivery, but I'm like, guys, the reality is, and we have special task forces now finding some of those children, and they're finding them in sweatshops in the United States, essentially. They're finding them in fields. They're finding them all over the place. They're finding them in other trafficking industries. They're finding them. And some of those are inside jobs. So this is insanity. And of course, we want to focus, frankly, on the story that makes the most sense. A mom took their kid with them when they went back home to their native country. That makes sense. And you're right, KJ. They don't want to do the thing that actually helps the children or helps the United States. They are anti-United States. They need the open borders. They need to run these narratives.
Yeah. We have another super chatter here. Brown Eyes with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Says media is trying to find a gotcha moment. Yep. They are draining me, especially when I have to explain the truth to misinformed people. Woo-hoo, Brown Eyes. You are preaching to the choir. We are right there with you. I just said earlier how, you know, family members, friends of mine believe MSNBC, CNN, that is their Bible, and they will not take anything otherwise. They believe that they're telling the truth, and when you try to provide data to them to the contrary, they get upset.
Yeah.
They get upset. So all we can do is continue to plant the seed, continue to give little nuggets of information. If they choose to accept it, they do. If they don't, then they don't. What do you have you encountered that, Michelle?
Well, yes, because my family stays on MSNBC, and Rachel Maddow was always in when I visit family members. It is sad, but then again, I have to realize, God, you're going to have to remove the scales from their eyes. There's not much I can do, because when you want to believe the enemy's lies, you're fully committed, right? It's the same thing as you want to live in sin. You're fully committed. That's your thing. That's what you want. That's what you want to do. And it takes a lot, and it takes you. A recognition or God or something else intervening. So there's only so much I can do. I can be the light. I can share the light. And in this instance, I can give the truth and I can give the facts. But what I'm not going to do is stress about people not listening. I am going to pray for the children. Right. And then the entire scenario reminds me of, you know, where are they when thousands of children are separated from their parents in the United States who go to jail? I mean, this happens all the time, where children are taken away from their parents or don't have access to them. This is not a new concept. What I'm tired of is those same exact robotic headlines. So right now, we have to make sure we correct that term of deported children. That's the term they're using. Deported children, deported children, deported babies, deported babies. It's like an echo effect, or like that ripple in the water. And I'm thinking, this is not what's happening. This is a deported mother. No child right now is just being deported. The children are either being returned or they are going with their parents back home.
Right. And Samantha Bush says, where are the missing 300,000 children? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, the 300,000 missing children. And if the media used just an ounce of their energy to focus on that, I mean, that's horrible. Horrible. 300,000 children missing. These kids are probably going through inhumane conditions. Some of probably the most trauma that it's unimaginable. And the media is wasting our time creating narratives that aren't even true when we have real issues right here. But this is what they do. So this is why broadcasts like ours is so important, folks. If you're just coming in, please hit that like button. It really helps to get our video out to more and more people here. And subscribe, because we definitely want to build a community of truth seekers, of people who call them out for their lies and disdain for America. This is what we want to do.